Puritanism by Raquel.
Patrick.
Fernando.
Madison.
The Puritans were a large group of people who originated in the Church of England, but were angered by the church, so they fled to America. They did this with the hope of building a new community as they attempted to purify their lives in the church. This was a way for them to escape the persecution of church leadership. After arriving in America, they settled in the area of New England, where they formed their own communities. People who did not share common beliefs were asked to convert or leave the community. The Puritans worked hard to do good because of the belief in predestination, which is the idea of God having the ultimate choice of who will be in heaven or hell. The Puritans also played a major role in the development of education within America. They formed the first formal school in 1635. The advancement in education led to many other advancements, such as the first printing press in 1638. Puritanism brought together a community in which education, politics, and the economy were main focuses and values.
The Puritans were a group most known for the Salem witch trials, in which they killed several people whom they believed to be witches. However, the Puritans have a far deeper history and lifestyle than most would think. The Puritans escaped to America to avoid persecution from the King and the Church of England. Once settled in America, the Puritans began to form an admirable society with certain aspects being looked down upon. The focus on religion led to the start of the first school in America. Each colony had a school capable of holding 50 families or more. All of this, of course, was to teach the students how to read the Bible. The Puritan society was based entirely around the Bible, which showed clearly in their treatment of those who did not follow their set of rules. The Puritans did not take kindly to differing opinions. Those who did not believe in their religion were removed from the town. Punishment for deviation from their strict belief system was far more harsh. People found guilty of sin would be publicly humiliated, being beaten and spat on by the people of the town, sometimes even hung. Adulterers would have a red A sewn onto their clothes so they could be publicly ridiculed. Despite all of this, the Puritans were not an entirely boring society. Parties and celebration were had, and adults would drink wine and beer.
The politics in the Puritanism era had a lot of successes. The population increased rapidly from the balanced sex ratio in the 17th and 18th centuries. The towns were the means of community organization, of regional colonization, and the venue in which Puritan culture could be transformed. Slavery during this time was permitted, and social inequalities along the lines of gender, age, and status were considered natural extensions of God's will. Ministers of churches in colonial Massachusetts were forbidden by law from holding office so that there could be no interference of politics with their spiritual duties.
Women performed a number of daily tasks that would later be defined as unladylike to the middle-class Victorians of the 19th century. The household was the center of production in New England, and since women played such integral roles in that sphere, they were bound up with a substantial economic role and responsibility, though they probably would not have understood or enjoyed the significance or potential power in such a role. Anne Hutchinson, a midwife and the daughter of a Puritan minister, had come to Massachusetts from England in 1634 with her husband. Like most Puritans, she believed that salvation could not be earned by one's acts but could only be bestowed by God. She was charged with sedition and went to trial before a civil court in 1637. She proved herself capable of sustaining an engaged and sophisticated debate on equal terms with the presiding magistrates and the ministers who testified against her.